Hello, welcome back. Full time in Dortmund. Netherlands 1, England 2. Can you believe it? They're through to the Euro 2024 final in Berlin. And as you can see, we've got one very delighted pundit and one maybe not so delighted pundit, but we'll come to that in due course. Tom, listen, you're giddy yourself. So tell us, come on, how you feeling? Capture the nation if you can.
Oh mate, yeah. Well, obviously, absolutely buzzing. Over the moon that we've got through to the final. But I think what I'm happy about the most is that it was just so much better, mate. That first half, especially, it was just fantastic. It's everything that we've been missing so far in the tournament. All those guys I've been ripping into, prior to now, they came good, especially Phil Foden. He was superb, and can't knock them at all in that first half. Absolutely fantastic performance. And second half, look, to be fair to the Dutch, they swapped things about. He made a few tactical changes. You can tell he sat the midfield a bit deeper to try and nullify Bellingham and Foden, who were kind of finding that space in between the lines and causing lots of problems. And it worked, and I felt like we were obviously chatting on WhatsApp whilst we were watching the game, and I felt the Dutch were slowly coming into it a bit more. Weghorst up top was starting to cause a few problems, with his height and physicality. But I was screaming, well, I just make some changes now. Now's the time. The Dutch are coming into it. He's got to make some changes, and thankfully he did. And they've ultimately gone and won us the game, haven't they? So yeah, absolutely buzzing.
Listen, we'll deep dive into some key moments throughout the game as the pod goes on. But Connor, just if you can try and sum it up. I know you look a bit somber, but listen, you've watched the 90 minutes. I'm sure you'll give us a neutral opinion if you can.
Look, I think first thing to say is congratulations to Southgate and to England. I think he's been asked some serious questions. I made the point midweek that this was a huge opportunity for him to silence some critics and doubters, because this is one of these classic games that he's not been very good at finding a way to win. And when they go 1-0 down early on in the match, inside the first 10 minutes, you're thinking, it could be the same old story for Southgate. But as they have found a way to do throughout the knockout stages, they've been behind in every game at different times in every game and managed to battle their way back into it by hook or by crook. More by crook today, but we'll come to that. But it's about finding ways to win games, and one of the criticisms has been about the substitutions, and he got it right today. You can't argue with that. And it's funny because when the subs were made, you were listening to Lee Dixon a bit unsure about them, and Sam Matterface having a bit of a grumble, and Ali McCoy, to be fair to him, did point out the slight hypocrisy in saying, well, you can't criticise him for not making subs and then criticise the subs he does make when he makes them, because you can't win in that situation then. For what it's worth, I thought they were the right subs. I think, Foden was superb in the first half. Quite how he never scored is remarkable. One off the post, one just a little touch for the keeper that allowed the defender to be able to stop it on the line. And at the stage of the game it was at, it needed that change because the Dutch had changed it. They'd stifled the midfield. Foden had kind of drifted out of the game a little bit in the second half. He wasn't as effective. And I think sometimes you just have to recognise that and go, he's run his race. It's time to freshen it up. Bring on a Cole Palmer, who admittedly made a bit of a meal of his effort. But Ollie Watkins obviously is the story of the day. And for what it's worth, by the way, I'll tell you now two things. It's an unbelievable finish he's produced, because the only spot he can put it in to score is there. The keeper has done nothing wrong. That is genuinely, when you're in a training session as a goalkeeper and those scenarios come up, and you'll do those scenarios, the position the keeper's in is exactly where you're told to stand, because what you're doing is you're basically blocking off the near post route. If he gets it in there, he's going to have some effort and squeeze it by you, and you're making it easier to stretch and save if he goes far post. So the only way he gets it past you is to almost hit the post and go in. And that's what he done. So it's a superb finish at the perfect time of the game, you have to say, from Ollie Watkins. And to be honest, I'm not convinced that Harry Kane would have taken that effort on with the level of aplomb that Watkins did. So no, listen, yeah, I'm disappointed, but to be clear, it's not about the England players. I admire the England players. I think they've got superstars in their team. There's no question in that. It's the insufferable nature of the English sporting media that's the problem. Experienced it 3 years ago when they got to the final and had a near miss. They're in there again. I still believe passionately that Spain will have more than enough in the locker to go and win it, because I've said that since the start of the tournament, not just because it's England. I've said that when we done the prediction. I did say so. I'm sticking with that. But no, we'll delve into the meat of the matter. But congratulations to England. And to be honest, I'm delighted for Gareth Southgate. I think he's deserved to have that bit of weight lifted off his shoulders.
Listen, they've got a couple of viewers joining us, so thanks for coming along. David's popped in a question there. Great win, boys. Watkins makes a sprint across the box to get on the ball that Kane doesn't. I think you sort of touched on that there, Connor, as well. So let's go back, Tom, if we can, to sort of 8 minutes past 8 when Xavi Simons pounces on Declan Rice in the middle of the park and then just does, the unforgivable and fires it into the top corner. Jordan Pickford maybe unsighted by Kyle Walker as he goes in to get the block on, but it's a marvellous finish and not the start you'd envisaged.
Yeah, no, it was a disastrous start, wasn't it, to be fair? And I'm not going to lie, I was worried, when, like you said, he had a lot to do, the lad Simmons, and he's done incredibly well because he's muscled off Rice, and I think I was giving Rice a bit of stick on the chat because, there isn't much to Simmons, is there? He's quite slight in frame and he's a little guy, so to muscle off Rice and then drive forward and smash one into the top corner, I think... I don't know, Pickford. I think the criticism towards Pickford's a bit unfair. I think he was a bit unsighted by Walker, and there's a lot of pace on that shot. I think, you got to give credit to Simmons for the finish. I think, and but as soon as that went in, mate, I was worried then because I was just thinking, how are we going to react? How are we going to, is it going to be a case of heads down now, or are we going to react positively and, try and kind of dust ourselves down and come at the Dutch? And look, again, massive positive was that's exactly what they did. I felt we responded superbly. After they opened the scoring, it was all England then. We were just bombarding them. We'd had some great play and some, a couple of half chances, in the build-up to before the penalty. We were really on top of them. And I know you're going to ask about the penalty kick at some point, but I felt the response was superb, and that we were completely on top of them at that point in time, and causing them some real problems. So big positive was how we responded to going that goal behind.
We will come on to the penalty in a moment, Connor, but I just think, as Thomas says there, in terms of the way England started moving it around, it was quicker, it was sharper than we've seen in previous matches. And I have to say, I know you probably get sick of me saying his name, but Kobe Mainoo again, I thought was instrumental in moving the ball quickly and creating sort of opportunities in that final third.
Yeah, it was, absolutely. Look, we said before the game, and I think we all said that we wanted this to be a good game of football. We wanted to see two teams having a go at it. And I thought in the first half, I thought England were superb when they went behind. I really do. I think the response to that, as Tom said, the heads could easily have dropped there. Pressure's on you, big match, you've gone behind early. And they reacted exactly the right way. They got at the Dutch. And Mainoo was instrumental to that. It didn't always, come off for him today. I think there was to quote Alan McCoy, near impossible ball he was trying to play through the middle for Kane when he probably should go out wide for Walker.
It's the bravery of the corner, isn't it? It's the bravery.
That's what I was just about to say. It's the bravery of him to do that. He doesn't mind that, and he doesn't mind if he makes that mistake, his head doesn't go down. You know, he learns from it and he makes the better and the correct decision the next time the opportunity presents itself, and he did. And the link-up play at times between him and Phil Foden, that little flick around the corner and Foden gets the shot away. I mean, that's just delicious. That's superb from a kid at his age. You know, and I think you've got to tip your hat to that, because this tournament, some of the youngsters we've seen, you know, the young Turks they lit up the place. They were superb. You know, Yamal, who's going to turn 17 on Saturday, I mean, unbelievable. And Kobe Manu as well. These young lads, when I think what I was doing at their age, I mean, it's a disgrace, really, to be perfectly honest with you. But, you know, superb for them. I do want to quickly say, as the only goalkeeper on the panel, you know, and again, I find myself defending Jordan Pickford, but for me, anybody who wants to suggest he could have done any better with that, I'm afraid I'm not having that. You know, as goalkeepers, we get a lot of flack, particularly when a ball goes past you for range, and people always think he could have done better. He didn't see it quick enough. It's simple as that. His sight is slightly blocked, and that means by the time he actually sees it, it's past him before he can really react to it. I think if he sees it quicker, he might, as I said in the chat, he might get a hand to it, but he might not get enough to keep it out, because it was an absolute bulletin. And fair play to Xavi Simons, because he's almost slipped as he's hit it. So to somehow keep that on target was superb, but not going to have any criticism labelled at Jordan Pickford there.
Listen, I've got, as I say, we're reacting to this stuff as it's coming in. So the King, none other than the King, he sent a message to Gareth Southgate and England players. My wife and I join all our family in wishing you the warmest congratulations on reaching the final of Euro 2024 and in sending our best wishes for Sunday's match. May I encourage you to secure victory before the need for any last-minute wonder goals or any penalty dramas. I'm sure the stress on the nation's collective part and blood pressure would be greatly elevated. Good luck, England. I wonder.
It's funny how quickly a week can lift people's spirits in England. You've got a Labour government. England are in the final. I mean, they couldn't be happier down there right now.
All they need now is Oasis to reform, and it's
exactly. And that's it. That's all it.
Yeah, absolutely. Tom, okay then, let's get on to the penalty, because I know Connor's going to have plenty to say about it. You yourself said about it. You know, Kane gets his shot away effectively, and Dumfries, the follow through, sees a collision. No doubt about it, it must have been a sore one for Kane, but you know, we didn't think it was going to get reviewed. ITV go to their expert on VAR, our American colleague, and she even says, you know, that's not going to get reviewed neither. But then, you know, we see the sign. We know he's going to the screen. He's there for a matter of seconds, actually, before he makes his mind up. He comes back and points to the spot.
Yeah, never a penalty, mate. I was, yeah. Look, obviously, I'm happy that it was given, but it was an atrocious decision. There's no ifs or buts about it. You know, I was watching it with the wife, and you know, she's not a massive football fan. She saw it and she said, "That's not a penalty, is it?" I said, "No, that's never a penalty." I said, like, if that was the other way around, you know, that was given against us, we'd be absolutely seething. That was terrible decision. I can't understand, you know, how they've come to that conclusion. It was, like you said, we're talking split seconds in that, you know, Kane's got his shot away and the defender's, you know, all he's trying to do is just get his foot to block it. And he's you know, even to say he's followed through is harsh, because it's all it is a case of they're just connecting, you know, Kane following through after the shot and the defender putting his leg in the way to try and block the ball. You know, I was raging at Ian Wright at half time, because I don't know if you saw, he was trying to justify it and say it was a penalty. You know, Roy Keane, Gary Neville were just saying pretty much what I've just said.
Gary Neville was disgusted. He said that was the language he used.
Well, it is. It's like, look, you know, it's in terms of the referees in this tournament so far, I think on the whole they've been pretty good. They have been pretty good, but there's been a couple of you know, real horror show decisions, and that was one of them. And yeah, like I said, I love Ian Wright. He's one of my favourite pundits, to be honest with you. But I was complete disagreement with him. He was trying to make out, well, if that, you know, happens somewhere else on the pitch, you know, it's you know, it's a given. It's going to be a free kick. But I think Neville got it spot on in saying, well, you know, you've got to give the defenders. There's got to be a bit of leeway there for the defenders in terms of, you know, trying to put their bodies on the line and blocking shots. And, trying to get themselves in the way. And, and this is the problem with VR, and it's always been the problem with VR, is when you slow something down, when, slow it right down to kind of, frame by frame, complete, really slow. It looks so much worse than it actually is in read time. It just completely, it just, like you said, it just makes it look so much worse than it actually is. And that's what happened there. They were slowing it down and down, and the slower it got, the worse it looked. But it was, terrible decision. And in that regard, I do feel a bit sorry for the Dutch. It was a real poor decision. But look, I think you look back at all the teams that have won tournaments, you have to have a bit of luck as well. You've got to have a few decisions go your way. It doesn't always come down to just playing good football. You have a few decisions go your way. Lady Luck's on your side, and she was on our side today with that decision, most certainly.
Connor, anything to add on that? I can see you poised and they're ready to go.
I mean, it's not a penalty. It's as simple as that. I mean, I could tell you right now that as soon as I seen the ref make that sign, I was making a very different sign. It's
that like automatically muted what he was saying then.
No, I was saying that when the ref made that sign, I was making a very different sign towards him. But I'll not do it on here. I won't get you cancelled. But it's just simply not a penalty. I can't.
Why? Give us some logic behind it. Why is the referee giving that as a penalty kick?
I have no idea. The honest truth is that he shouldn't even have been sent over to the monitor. And VAR are going to have to answer why they've sent him to the monitor, because Harry Kane, in no way at any point does he get impeded from getting his shot away. That challenge isn't the reason the shot goes ballooning over the bar. It's just a poor shot. He doesn't catch it well enough, but he gets the shot away clean. The defender has every right to try and block that ball. I mean, look, Gary Neville is someone who I don't agree with domestically when it comes to football, but he's one of the few pundits when it comes to England I don't mind, because he's a lot more measured and he is quite honest in situations like that to say it for what it is. I feel that Wrighty might have had the blinkers on a little bit, which is a shame because I generally quite like Wrighty. But, in the box as a defender, you have to have a bit of licence to go out and try and block a ball. If you can't do that as a defender, you are useless. There is no point in having a defender if he's not allowed to block. And that's all he's trying to do. And I think to give a penalty there and then book him is extraordinary, because Kane hits the shot and follows through and they sort of collide with each other. It's as simple as that. I always harp back to this because this is the measuring stick for me at this tournament. And, I am Scottish, so I would say this, but if you put these two incidents side by side in front of someone who hasn't seen these games and go, one of these was a penalty, one of them wasn't given, what one do you think it was? 99.9% of people are going to say the Scotland one must have been given as a penalty. Because that one there isn't. And this is the problem when you've got officials outside of the mire, as it were, slowing things down and looking at it there. They've decided the ref has made a clear and obvious error there and they should go to the monitor. But the ref's in a perfect position. He sees it cleanly. I also think, and I feel sorry for this ref because, okay, it might not be as bad for him because I don't know what the Dutch media is like, but I know what the Dutch media will be saying about him tomorrow morning. You mentioned it, that because of the issue he's got previously with corruption, that's what they'll label it. Just the same as I would expect that the English media would have done the same if it had been the other way around. So he's going to take a battering because VAR has sold him down the wrong path. Having said that, when you go to the monitor as a ref, be stronger. You don't have to give a penalty just because VAR says, have a look. So it's a terrible decision. It does, unfortunately for me, leave me wagging my face because I said he shouldn't have a material impact in the game. He did. Well, let's be honest. If that penalty's not given, we're not on right now. We're watching an extra time period take place because, of course, Saka was offside with his effort. So,
Harry Kane's actually spoken on the penalty. He said, look, my foot's hanging off, so he's definitely caught me. Sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. I was happy to step up and see that go in the back of the net. It was a nice feeling for sure. Tom, just on that then, did you have any concerns when when he took the ball. Because I was saying to my wife, again, not a massive football fan, but who's going to take it? And she said, well, Kane's got the ball, but he doesn't look confident, you know. And I think you could see him sort of taking 2 inward sharp breaths before he stepped up and put it away.
Yeah, she's spot on, mate. I said exactly that because obviously he didn't take a penalty in the penalty shootout, in the last round. And but then I was saying, well, again, I was giving the wife the rundown. I said, well, Kane's our penalty taker. I said, and I said normally he tucks them away, and I said normally he's very good at penalties. I said, but I said the same. He looked quite nervous, but. Yeah, fantastic pen. The goalie's gone the right way. But it's that
unsavable.
Unsavable. Side netting, perfect penalty. Low side netting, bottom corner. Yeah, fantastic penalty. And he's stepped up and did what needed to be done. But I think Kane. It's again. It's easy for me, and I'll say this being an England fan, because I get incredibly frustrated by other teams play acting, rolling around, faking injury to try and sway the referee's decision making. And I thought that Kane did that. I thought, I'm not saying it wasn't a painful one, but there's 100% in his head he's thinking, well, if I stay down here and roll around and make more of a meal of it, there's an off chance here that I might get a penalty kick, and that's exactly what played out. And like Connor said, even when he went over to the screen on the side, I was thinking, he'll look at this, he won't give it. I was still thinking he won't give it, that, the numpties up at VAR had said, we'll go and have a look at it. I thought, well, the ref will see that and think, nah, not a chance. So I just couldn't believe it. But look, yeah, I can't complain too much about it, mate, can I?
Listen, they're going to have to change the phrase "luck of the Irish" to "luck of the Southgate" after this. I'll tell you that right now. Goodness me, the luck that man has is quite. I mean, listen, they deserve to win today. I'm not saying that, from a purely objective point of view, but I mean, dear me, to get the kind of luck of.
You're right, though. It was a critical moment in the game, wasn't it?
In that moment, yeah.
Yeah, it was a very critical point in the game because we were even though we're on top. You've got to make the most of that. You've got to take, you've got to score and get back on level terms. And, if that penalty wasn't given, which it shouldn't have been, and the game plays out a little bit longer, England could have kind of, taken their foot off the gas a little bit, which could have nullified it. And
yeah, it's a frustration.
It goes into half time.
If you go to half time having played as well as they did play and you're still behind, there would have been a natural frustration in that changing room because you'd think we've literally thrown everything at this here and we've not got the breakthrough. And then obviously Koeman probably would have still made the same change because whether he goes behind or not, he's quite quick to recognise that's a little off. So that might change it. I mean, look, the bottom line is, it is what it is. You need luck to go and win tournaments. You don't always play well before winning it. And Portugal were a great example of that in 2016. They had a fair rub of the green in their run to winning it. And you need that sometimes. So look, I think it's a poor one from the ref, but England still had to score it. Kane still had to step up, which he did. And then it's about how you react for there as England, because again, the other thing about them has been when they've scored, they've tended to then almost naturally drop back like a habit that they've get into. They didn't do that here. They pressed to go and get another one. So you've got to give them plenty of credit whilst, being honest enough. And I think most England fans in the cold hard light today, when things calm down a bit, will be honest enough to say that as well, including Wrighty, because let me tell you, if that penalty is given to Spurs in a North London derby against Arsenal and he's on match of the day, he would be flying off the roof.
Listen, you talk about luck there, and England maybe didn't have their fair share actually in terms of the chances. With Foden, he's get one cleared off the line. It's great footwork, nutmegs the keeper, and they managed to clear it off the line. Then he hits the, I don't know what you call it, the stanchion these days, the post, where the post meets the crossbar. Nothing was coming off for him, and he was really, really trying. It was the best, best form we'd seen him in terms of the tournament, Tom. So you talk about frustration going in. Had the penalty not going in, but what about frustration going in? These chances just aren't going in. You're knocking at the door, and you're knocking at the door.
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly it. We were playing so well, leading up to the goal, and then, like Connor said, after we scored the goal, so far in this tournament, we've sat back and we took our foot off the gas a little bit, but we didn't do that. We really took the game to the Dutch, and yeah, Foden was the one kind of leading that, wasn't he? He was playing incredibly well, linking up play in that number 10 position, and yeah, so unlucky with that one where I think it was a nice bit of play from Mainu, I think it was, who kind of slipped it into him, but he's close control, and to get it, to get it under control onto his right foot and slip it past the goalkeeper. But look, it's got to be said, it was good defending from the Dutch to kind of keep it out. But that one where he curled one in from the edge of the box, yeah, he was so unlucky with that.
Yamal-esque, wasn't it?
I know it was. It would have been funny if that had gone in, because it would have been an almost identical goal to the one, the youngster scored last night for Spain. But yeah, I was a little bit disappointed at half time that we didn't go into the break leading, because I felt like we deserved it on the balance of play. Take the poor decision, put that to one side for the penalty. I felt on the balance of play, we were a much better team, created much more chances, and probably deserved to be leading at half time. So yeah, and then like Connor said, you got your how many times do you see it in football where you're playing well in the first half, but then, the half ends and it just, all that momentum just stops, doesn't it? It just kills the momentum, and it obviously allows the opposition to make changes and tweak things. And I think I said to you, Rob, earlier on that, Koeman he's a bit of a master at kind of seeing things and making changes when he needs to make changes. He doesn't matter when he needs to make them. He'll just make them, for the good of the team. And yeah, I wasn't surprised to see at half time him make some substitutions and obviously switch the formation. And then you're thinking, well, can we push on again, and can we kind of kick into fifth gear once again and start causing them some problems? So yeah, it was a little bit disappointed at half time, but I was so over the moon, mate, at how much better we were playing. Honestly, it was just. It's taken us to the semi-finals to actually, really turn it on and show our true potential. What these players are capable of. So I couldn't be too disappointed. I was just glad to see us, causing the Dutch plenty of problems and looking like a top class team again.
Connor, let's pick up on Tom's point there then about Koeman making those changes and coming out second half, and it did seem to work. You have to say, early doors, England were struggling to control that midfield, and Mount Vegas, it seemed to really impose himself on the England backline.
He really did. Listen, that's what he does. He's a menace in there, and he's a big lumpy lad. You know what I mean? He's going to cause you problems. I didn't know. Sam Matterface said in the commentary, apparently the Netherlands is the tallest country in the world. Didn't know that.
Great stat.
What a stat. Only in football do stats like that reel their head. I mean, that's an incredible. Somebody somewhere actually had to look that up, by the way, and feed him that information. That's incredible. So fair play to whoever did that. But no, he's a handful. He likes to try and bully his way through defenders. That's why when he was at Burnley, he done exceptionally well for them. Playing like that, and I think he can be. I think the one thing that was probably, for all he did, bullishly get his way around and certainly create some problems and headaches for England. I did feel that the service for him to try and feed off in the box wasn't quite on point. I think certainly some of the set pieces, the one that was whipped in right in the breadbasket for, I think it was Van Dijk stroke the England defender, that was a super cross, that. But apart from that,
a super save, you have to say.
Yeah, listen, terrific for Jordan Pickford. I know they said on commentary that was one he should make. And
I didn't agree with Lee Dixon there. I thought it was a pressure situation. You've not seen much action during the game. It was a good save.
Listen, the problem is, right, that's the kind of comment someone who's not a goalkeeper will make, because defenders, quite frankly, are the most arrogant people on a pitch. They expect miracles for their goalkeepers half the time. They really do. And you can't produce them. So I think there's a lack of understanding how difficult that save is. Look, if it was me, I'd like to save it. I'd fancy I'd get a chance of saving it, but you've got to get down quick, and then not only saving it, but then turning it over the post, because it's easy enough if you save that to end up flapping it back into the danger area, but he manages to get it round the post and out to relative safety, and I think that's a very, very decent save, because again, if that goes in at that point, it swings and roundabouts. It's moments in games that can change it again. So he done well there. I think that was probably the biggest threat that the Dutch had, again, because of that sheer size and the height of them. We've seen it as well with Dumfries hitting the crossbar in the first half. That was where, if they were going to find another goal, it was likely to come for that. Obviously, they didn't, and I think, as I say, there was maybe just a slight lack in that type of quality from them in the forward areas. And actually, quickly to say, what didn't help them, I think, was Memphis Depay having to go off injured after 35 minutes. That is a blow, because he does bring a pace to the front line, but that does noticeably slightly dissipate when he's not there.
Tom is kind of saying there, the Dutch certainly had a good spell. Pickford's called into action a couple of times. Gay makes a block as well. But then Gareth Southgate does seem to wake up and make... David, we'll pull that up in a minute. Southgate does seem to wake up and make his changes. And at that point, we see a Saka goal that's rightly given offside. Kyle Walker just inches off. And just on Kyle Walker, actually, well, David's firing in the comments, he's put this in. Kyle Walker, England's best ever right back, not blessed with a right foot, but he's so sharp and agile on the turn. In 10 years' time, nobody will be looking back wherever he couldn't use his left foot. Give us your thoughts on that one, Tom.
Yeah, well, I'm a fan of Kyle Walker. I think he's he's a fantastic player first and foremost, but I think he's been a fantastic player for England as well. He's probably one of those players that probably goes under the radar a little bit in terms of his contribution to the team and how long he's been made that position. He made that right back position a long time ago, but he's also been able to adapt, hasn't he, and slot into centre back when Southgate's changed things and tinkered with the formation. And yeah, I thought he had a really good game tonight. He was solid, wasn't he, throughout? But he was posing a threat when he was going forward as well, which you like to see. And yeah, he was incredibly unlucky with that disallowed Saka goal, because it was weird, because unless I missed it, I don't think they ever brought up the little... No,
it was the semi-automated offside, wasn't it? Straight in, and that the referee gave the decision that we didn't get to see any angles or any lines. Yeah.
So normally, obviously, they bring up a little bit later on the little kind of animated, showing you how close it was, the offside decision, but we never got to see it. I do think it was offside. I saw just from the still camera shot, it looked like he'd just strayed offside, but it was some good link-up play, and great running ball from Walker and a great finish from Saka. And yeah, made a bit of a tit of myself in the living room, because obviously I was jumping up and down, going mad. Scared the missus as well, because she was getting a bit bored by this point, mate. She was doom scrolling on the old gram, wasn't she? And scared the crap out of her. But then, quickly realised it had been disallowed. So incredibly unlucky. But yeah, I agree. Walker, he's just solid, and he's just one of those players. He's been solid for England for a long time now. Every now and again he will have a bit of a mare or make a mistake, but they're few and far between. He's been a fantastic servant for England. So agree 100%.
Conor, I'll come to you on it, because just
not sure he's the best, is he? I mean, Bobby Moore won the World Cup in 1966.
Just on Kyle Walker, okay, because I know we're talking about the game, but the point's been brought up by the viewer, and is that there's been a talk about a changing of the guard at right back after this tournament. You've got Trent Alexander-Arnold almost waiting in the wings there. But if Kyle Walker's still putting in these performances, he's still winning trophies at club level and could be winning trophies at international level come Sunday. Is it his jersey to lose, or does it just be a natural change after the tournament? Should Southgate then go as well?
Don't threaten me with him winning a trophy on Sunday. Jesus. My arse cheeks will be picking up forks as it is. Jesus Christ. No, I think he's a superstar, Kyle Walker. it's the pace he's got is unbelievable. Sometimes it's the turn of pace. Sometimes you look at him and you think, well, I'm not sure he's going to make that, and then he just switches the afterburners on and he's off. I mean, that ball was played through for Gakpo. That is absolutely precision time, perfect challenge. Because if he slightly mistimes that, one or two things happen. Either Gakpo flicks that over him and he's in one-on-one with Pickford, or he wipes out Gakpo and quite possibly gets a red card for stopping a clear and obvious goal-scoring opportunity. And to time that the way he did and get across and cover it is remarkable defending from him. And he certainly will take his place among the best right-backs England have ever had. As I say, I think there's competition for him there. You know, you always have to look at those who've actually won something. And Bobby Moore, as I say, for me, would probably still be the greatest until such time as perhaps Kyle Walker, dare I say it, does go on and win something at international level.
I don't think either of those names could lace Danny Mills's boots, but that's just me.
Dear me. No, but as I say, yes, Pep, and do you know what? This is the joy that England have got right now, is the wealth of talent at their disposal. I don't think, people always mention about the golden generation, Lampard, Gerrard, Scholes, Shearer, players like that, Rooney when he was in there, Neville's, Ferdinand's, and that was undoubtedly a team that was a superb team that probably, looking back on it, maybe slightly underachieved from what they could have done. Having said that, they were in an era at the same time as likes of Thierry Henry, Zinedine Zidane, Del Piero, Figo, guys like that who were world class as well. But I think the time comes where he hangs them up, and then you've got Trent coming in. It's not exactly a bad replacement, is it? Having Trent Alexander-Arnold up your sleeve. So I think superb for him. I really do. It does make me feel slightly sorry for Kieran Trippier. I think he's had a hard old time at this tournament because he's playing at left back and he's not naturally a left back, really. So, but no, you can't sing his praises enough. What is it? 5 trophies in the last 2 years he's won at City. He's and what he's done at England as well. Can't fault him.
Tom, then let's going to hand over to you because Ollie Watkins comes on, and I'm not going to shy away from it. I sent you a message in saying Watkins before Tony. Bit bemused, bit puzzled by that, but he's you've got egg in your face, I've got egg on mine because he comes up trumps, and it's what he's been doing week in week out for Villa, gets in behind, shifts it, and finds the space to put it in the bottom corner. It's a great goal and at the perfect time. Let's not take anything away from that. England's mentality in this tournament has been we don't stop, we don't give up, and it showed again tonight.
Yeah, same as you. I felt. I was surprised in that Tony he's obviously in the last couple of games when he's come off the bench, he's proved a real handful, and he's performed really well. There's a lot of people, including myself, were calling for him to start tonight. To replace Kane up top. So when Southgate made those changes and I saw Watkins being brought on, like I said to you, I was a little bit surprised, but I can understand it to an extent because I felt like Watkins has got a lot more pace. He's a different kind of player to Tony. He's not as strong, he's not as physical, but he plays on the shoulder, doesn't he? And he tries to beat the offside trap, and he's got a lot more pace. And I feel like the two centre backs for Holland, you obviously got Van Dijk and De Vrij. Is that how you pronounce it? I think two big guys, very strong, comfortable in the air, very strong in the air as well. I just felt Southgate's thinking was probably that if he was to have brought Tony on, those guys might have had an easier time kind of keeping Tony under wraps than Watkins, who, like I said, offered something different, bit of pace, playing on the shoulder, looking for those balls through. And like as well with Kane, how Kane had played up until then, he was dropping deep as he usually does. And to be honest, I think Kane probably had another mediocre game. We've been talking about Foden, how he stepped up finally and put in a great performance, especially in that first half. I think Kane was quiet once again. He did well to step up and put that penalty away, but I felt the Dutch did a good job in nullifying Kane. So, Yeah, and then look, credit's got to be given to Southgate for making that decision. I think the vast majority of England fans would have expected Tony to be the one who was brought on, given his last couple of cameos he's made. But yeah, and look, you know, the goal, it's just, yeah, it's fantastic finish. And I think, I don't know if Connor touched on it at the start, I don't think Kane, and I don't even think Tony would have put that away, just in terms of the kind of players they are. And, you know, he's obviously made the run in the first instance. He's on the defender's shoulder. He's made the run into space, but then his first touch, you know, that first touch, it was just unreal. In that, it's just, he's made it look simple, but it isn't. In that, it's obviously put it on a plate for him to just, like Connor said, hit it low and hard into the bottom corner, and then the finish itself, like he said, he couldn't have placed it anywhere else. You know, that's the only place he's beaten the goalkeeper is that corner, hitting it low and hard. And he's done that. And look, as you guys know, I'm a massive West Brom fan, but I don't care for 1 minute that he's a Villa striker and he's put that away. You know, I was jumping around all over the living room when he banged that in, because, yeah, you know, I thought that's it. We got through to the final with that. You know, there's a couple of minutes here to defend for our lives, but perfect time to get that second goal. So yeah, absolutely buzzing for him. And while you guys were just chatting, then I was just looking at some. You've probably seen it, Rob, where they were saying like 2015. I think he was coming on as a sub for Western-super-Mare. Oh no, it says here Ollie Watkins comes on as a substitute for Western-super-Mare at Basingstoke Town, 17th of March 2015.
My birthday, yeah, brilliant, yeah. I'm just reading that now, yeah.
Yeah,
So
10th of July 2024, comes on as a sub for England and sends them to the finals, which is fairy tale stuff, isn't it? Really, you know how he's come through all the different levels to get to where he has. So yeah, I'm really pleased for the guy.
I think that's a point, Connor, actually, because, you know, case in point, you know, he's on loan from Exeter. He's gone to non-league. He's only concentrated at this point, getting back to Exeter and try and get into the first team. Never thought he would, you know, he's a realist. He was dreaming about the Euros, but never thought he'd actually get that. And he said recently he got a bit frustrated. He doesn't like to be on the bench. He did the best season of his career. A few friends had messaged him and said, you know, be patient. You know, the amount of people that messaged him saying if he came on tonight and he would score was ridiculous. So he said hopefully they can do the same for him in the final or give him the lottery numbers, which is a nice touch, but I don't think he needs the lottery numbers, to be honest. But yeah, it's not to be forgotten. I know, you know, these players are always built up in the media and superstars and on X, Y, and Z a week, but some of these guys have worked really hard. You think of the likes of Jared Bowen as well. I think he started at Shrewsbury, maybe, or Hereford, actually, somewhere around there. So they have worked hard to get into these positions. We don't want to, you know, I think Jordan Pickford's been on loan at Bradford and stuff, so they've earned their stripes.
Yeah, and listen, Pickford had to play for Sunderland, and that's not easy for anybody, so fair play to him. But no, I mean, listen, you know, they do have to work hard. I mean, Ollie Watkins, from Western-super-Mare to Euros super player, I mean, you can't really get better than that if you're him. And that's what it should be, though. There should be, you know, young lads coming up who are playing at these non-league clubs just now should look at that as a, you know, that's where we can get to. If you work hard at it and you really prove yourself, you can get there. Obviously, sometimes you need somebody to take a chance on you as well and give you that break. And that can take a brave manager sometimes at one of the bigger clubs to do that. You look at Vardy, he was a classic example. Come up for non-league football with Fleetwood to win in the Premier League with Leicester and was a key component in that side, and had his time in an England jersey too. So I think it's a fairy tale story. It's what every wee boy who's into football dreams about. You know, I mean, we've all done it. You know, when I was younger, I was dreaming about scoring winning goals for Scotland and games like that. And never going to happen, unfortunately. But it's great stuff. It is, and he thoroughly deserves it. Watkins, he has been sensational for the past couple of years at Villa in particular. Last season, outstanding. You know, Champions League football to look forward to as well, and I'm sure he'll light up that stage as well. You know, it's great, and it's comforting for England as well, I think, to know that when Kane hangs them up at international level,
people in the wings,
he's got people in the wings that will come in behind him, because I would imagine that Kane's got maybe 2, possibly 3 tournaments left in him. If you look at World Cup 26, Euro 28, does he then go into 2032 or 2030? Maybe, maybe not. So it's good to know you've got that there. And yeah, listen, it's really is fairy tale stuff, and that finish is sublime. And you know what it epitomises to me as well? Something that hasn't been getting done by Kane. A lot of the time with Kane, he's been behind the defender, meaning that the winger's almost got to play a near pinpoint position pass to find him. Whereas Watkins, the movement that Tom was talking about, he's getting himself in to cut across the face of the defender and get onto that ball first to give himself the chance at getting the shot away. And he took it superbly. And delighted for him that he's had that moment, because that will live long in the memory. Whatever happens in the final, he will never ever forget that moment of firing him there, because there's only ever been 3 times in history England have got to a major final. So it's a very exclusive club he's found himself a part of.
Well, listen, let's draw attention to that. Then let's bring you back down to earth, Tom, if we can get you off that chandelier. Stephen Quinn, you absolute animal. Puts me off my stride every time, that lad. So, the final Sunday is Spain. Connor's obviously talked Spain up. We spoke briefly before coming on air today about Spain and that game last night. It's a different animal yet again, probably another step up, especially when you look at that midfield battle. Is there anywhere at all, in areas of weaknesses that you think England could exploit? Did they keep the same system? How did they go about lifting this trophy the weekend?
Mate, I don't know. You're right. It's funny because, like, when the final whistle went and the missus, she went, well, who's it they got in the final again? I went, Spain. She goes, are they good? I said, yeah, they're good. I said, like, is there any chance of winning? I said, nah, there's no chance of us winning. So, yeah, look, mate, I don't know. Look, the thing is we've got the players capable of doing it. We definitely have. I think on paper we've got as good a in terms of a squad, good a selection of players than the Spaniards have. But then, it comes down to obviously, tactics, approach, the coach, and the Spain they've just looked top class right from the very start. As we've very, very slowly got better as the competition's gone on. Obviously we played our best football tonight. The Spaniards have just been fantastic right from the get-go, and I think as well, like, you look at the teams that they've beaten en route to the final. They've beaten Croatia, they've beaten Italy, they've beaten the Germans. They beat the Georgians, who, they were just like the surprise package, weren't they?
Tournament favourites on this podcast. They were unplayable.
But they've had the hardest route to the final as well. But they've just got there. They've absolutely breezed it. They've just got there, with ease. So yeah, look, it's going to be incredibly difficult on Sunday. To be honest with you, I'm trying not to think about it too much. I'm just going to soak up as much as possible. The fact that we've managed to get to the final, because I was obviously a bit nervous before the game tonight. So yeah, just going to kind of revel in that for a little bit. But look, I think the vast majority of England fans will admit that the Spanish are going to be the favourites going into this, and if England are to get a win and lift the trophy, then we've got to up our game once again. We've got to crank it up another level from tonight. If we perform like we did tonight, I don't think it'll be good enough. We've got to lift that bar once again and perform at our very best if we've got any chance of beating Spain.
Connor, that's a point I was going to make there. First half England, that's as good as we've seen them against first half Spain last night. That's probably what you're looking at in terms of Sunday if you want to see another spectacle. You think Spain will just have too much?
Well, first of all, if we get 90 minutes of first half England and first half Spain for last night, that's a Withmorton prospect that will be an incredible game of football. You know, it's tough. Listen, I've said from the start that I thought Spain were going to win it. And quite frankly, how well they've done, I feel very vindicated in that, because there was not many people actually calling Spain to go on and be winners of it. And I do believe in the route they've seen off both of you guys' predictions along the way. But I think England can win it, but it's all about the approach they take to the game. I think you look at the game at Wembley a couple of years ago against Italy, scoring after 2 minutes through Luke Shaw, of all people, and then sitting back, defending for 88 minutes, hoping that Italy wouldn't find a breakthrough. And that, against these teams, is never in a million years going to work for you. And I think Southgate needs to make sure he doesn't fall back into that, because, you know, the one thing that England haven't actually had to do since game one is potentially deal with actually leading a game from the front for a sustained period of time, because they've always found themselves behind and having to just sort of dig in and pull something out. So if that was to happen, it'd be interesting to see how they would react to that. Listen, I've said from the start Spain, and I'm not going to change my mind on that. I'm still convinced they'll have enough in the locker to win it, because they have been the team of the tournament thus far, and the run they're on has stretched back a long, long time. I mean, I think Scotland are one of only 2 teams, I believe, to have beaten them over the course since pretty much the World Cup.
He was getting that in there. He want, you know, there's no way that wasn't getting in there, man.
I have to. What I'm saying is, if Spain do win the Euros, then I think Scotland deserve a rematch and a shot at it, because I think we've got a legitimate claim. Much like how in 1967 we became world champions, we went and bet England at Wembley. No, you know, on the serious point, that's just how good Spain have been coming through the run they're on, and I don't see them letting up at all. So I do strongly fancy them, but listen, there's every chance England can do it if they get it right, they get the mentality correct, and they have a go at it. Do you know what? You don't get these opportunities every day. Football is a very cruel game a lot of the time, and England have been handed something that they wouldn't have imagined in the wildest dreams. They've been handed a chance very quickly to actually go and, you know, bounce back from the disappointment of 3 years ago and right those wrongs, and actually go out there and be a team that has a go at it. That's what you've got to do in finals. You know, there's no point in trying to be overly pragmatic about things. Just have a go and see what happens. And yeah, take it for there. But whatever happens, it will be a fantastic game, no doubt about it.
Just come in, Connor. We'll put it to both of you. Steve Quinn put in I pulled up earlier. He said Luke Shaw has to start over Trippier in the final. Is that because Lamine Yamal is just so, you know, frightening at the moment? Trippier just couldn't handle him.
I just think,
because that's where the danger is, isn't it? The Spain and the wide area is fantastic, but actually when you look at it, you know, Ormo, there's a couple others in the middle of the pitch that are just frightening as well. So where do you throw your attention?
Yeah, I think just touching on what Connor said there, I think Spain's biggest weakness is their defence. I genuinely do. You know, I do think that they're quite vulnerable at the back in terms, you know, the guys that they've got playing there. You know, their biggest asset, where they're most dangerous, is in attack. So, yeah, our defence is going to be have to be at their absolute best. You know, if we're to kind of, you know, keep them quiet and combat that. But I think Connor's right. I think if we can get it right in attack, then we can definitely pose, you know, the Spanish, you know, some questions. I thought, you know, France in that game last night, you know, France have been really poor throughout the tournament, especially in attack. You know, they really struggled to score goals and create chances. But, you know, they caused Spain some problems last night, I felt. So, you know, they're not unbeatable. You know, Connor's right, 100%. They're not unbeatable. But I just think, yeah, just in terms of how they've got to the final in comparison to how we've got to the final, they got to be the favourites. You know, it's as simple as that. But then just flipping that, you know, England being the underdogs. I quite like the idea of England being the underdogs because, you know, every game, you know, tonight was probably more of a 50-50 match. You know, the Dutch are a good team, got some good players, you know, in their ranks. But every game up until then, England had been clear favourites. The pressure had been on them from the press and from the fans. You know, you're the favourites. You got to go and win this game, prove your worth. Thinking this game against Spain, England will be the underdog. So hopefully we can use that, you know, to our advantage. But yeah, sorry, I've kind of gone off on one a little bit there with the question. Luke Shaw, look, it's all about fitness, isn't it? I just think Shaw, you know, he's left-footed, he's a natural left back. It makes sense for him to start there if he's fit. It just gives much better balance to the team, and I think Shaw will offer more going forward as well. But it's all about whether he's fully ready to go, because Southgate, we all know Southgate doesn't take risks, does he, Southgate? So I think if Shaw isn't 100% fit, you know, he probably will go with Trippier to start off with and then look to maybe bring Shaw on again. But look, again, I think Trippier, again, I said it in the pod we did before the game, I think defensively, he probably edges it over Shaw. I think Shaw's much better going forward. But defensively, yeah, Trippier, I think, is the better player. So whether, you know, you look at the threat, you know, that Spain have got, especially out wide, whether he's thinking maybe we play it a bit more cautiously, you know, have some defenders in there, or do we kind of look to take the game to them, push them back a bit, and try and push our, you know, wing backs on, cause them some problems. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what he does. It's good to see Shaw come on and obviously play 45 minutes and look comfortable, didn't he? So
okie dokie, gents. We're out of time. That'll do us. We're obviously approaching nearly an hour there. Good shift. Or listen, if you've just joined us or if you've been sleeping, England are in the final against Spain on Sunday. Listen, we're going to be back over the weekend at some stage. We'll try and put something together because I really enjoyed that. I know Tom did too. Connor, I know you did somewhat. And I dare say if we can get you back on, we'd love to as well. So thanks to the two guys. Thanks to you guys.
Listen, I'd be delighted to, and I will say that you know, taking off the saltire lenses, you know, genuinely, Steve's talking about apologies to Southgate. I am genuinely delighted for Gareth Southgate, and listen, you know, it won't be much coming for a Scot, but genuinely, all the very best of luck to England in the final. You know, but I still believe Spain will win, but go out there and have a go at it. And listen, if it comes home, so be it. They'll have earned it, and yeah, as I say, best of luck to them.
Steve, we'll put in a good word for you, and we'll see if we can get that sorted for you. All right. Okay. As I say, that is us. We will see you over the weekend, and look forward to. Just play us out. Enjoy your evening. Thank you very much.